Have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to be a better version of yourself, right? Like you wanted to be a better man, you wanted to be a better husband. If you're married, you wanted to be a better father if you have kids. And you have all of these goals and aspirations for yourself and for your family. But at the same time, you don't have any active or living or close to you role model or example of the type of man that you want to be and what that looks like. If you ever found yourself in this type of situation or position, this episode today is for you, and I hope this conversation is helpful. Let's get into it. Okay, so when it comes to this whole topic of conversation, I know that it's been something very troubling for me at times. I'd assume it's been the same for you. You know, a lot of us, even if we did have our fathers, I had my father, I still have my father, all glory be to God for that. But regardless of us even having our father, some of us having them, some of us having no father in the home at all and not having any good role models around, there's always, I think, this place where we see and we respect and we love our fathers. We see and we respect and we love the men who have poured into us, right? And they've come into our lives and they've been great examples and they've shown us a lot of different things. But there's a difference between us and them, what they desired and what their goals were and the type of man that they wanted to be. It just is different than the type of man that we want to be. Not even to mention that they lived and they grew up in a completely different era, a completely different culture, in a very, very different society that's just so different than ours today, those of us who were born in the late 90s, right? And so when we're looking at this, it can create just an uncomfortability sometimes. And I think sometimes it can also create a feeling of helplessness, right? You want to be very effective and a very strong and a very confident and just, there's no better word to say it, just a very effective man. But when you look around and you're looking for these resources and you're looking for these people to guide you, it's like they do not exist. And it can be very just dissettling. And I find myself in this position often. I find myself in this position where I'm trying to look for this perfect mix, right? It's like I want to be a great man of God. I want to bring others to God. I want people to know what it means to love God and be loved by God. I want people to be able to just receive the blessings that I've received by walking with God, from, just the peace of mind and the discipline and having a beautiful wife and just a beautiful daughter and having a very, very provided for life, right? But I also, want to be a great entrepreneur. I want to be able to never have to worry about my family being fiscally just secure, right? And also making sure that I have the time and the resources to be able to pour into them adequately. I don't want the system raising my daughter. I don't want the school system to be her main and sole teacher of everything that she knows. I don't want my wife to have to rely on a job or rely on anybody else to get anything else that she needs, right? And these are all very, very difficult things to do. And I've never seen, or I don't know any men who are in a position who are doing this in the way that I would like to do it. I see individuals who have scratched the surface and I see individuals who are doing it in their own way. But maybe it's just the side of life that they're on, or the time of life that they're in rather, that it just looks different for them, or their priorities may have started where mine are right now and shifted, and are a bit different. Nonetheless, it's just this type of man that I want to be. And I know there's a type of man that you want to be. And it's difficult, right? We try different things. If you're like me, we read books. We watch different podcasts, like you're watching the podcast right now. We watch YouTube channels. We have conversations. We Google things. If you're in this day and age, which you are because you're watching this podcast, you use Chat GPT and you ask questions, and we just go through all of these different gyrations to try to figure out, okay, how do I get from where I am right now to where I'm trying to go? And a lot of us, we're not even lazy. We're willing to do the necessary work. We're willing to take the necessary steps, but we just don't know what those steps are all the time. And it's frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. And if you're sitting with me in the exact same position, I feel what you feel, and I know you feel what I feel. And it's ghetto. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're really thugging it out right now. But what I can say is this: through every season of my life, through every challenge that I faced in trying to become this better man, right? To become this more effective man, to become this more fiscally secure man, to become this more disciplined and confident man, I've gotten closer and closer by continuing to try, right? You know, from the time when I was 18 and deciding whether I wanted to go to college or not, to deciding, okay, I'm going to go to college rather than attempting to go to the military and fight in a war that I know nothing about, right? And then going to college and getting my degree, and then COVID happening right when I'm graduating and trying to figure out, okay, how can I get a job in this climate when people don't even want to be 2 feet close to to one another, right? And then starting a business and learning things about business after I got a business degree, and then going and working in the automotive industry, and then pursuing law enforcement, and then not working, and all the while still trying to work on my business, audio engineering, producing, and just all these different things, right? All the way to where I sit right now, where I work in sales. But the character that's been built along the way, the lessons that I've learned along the way, the inches forward that I've learned or I've gained along the way, it's indispensable, right? And even realizing that, you know, where I sit right now, I truly believe that the perfect business model even is a business model where you're not trading your time for money. You have to manage as little physical resources as possible. And there is a level of continuity with the product or the service that you offer, to the point where something that's evergreen, it continues to be needed regardless of how many times it's used. Those type of things are the things that can actually put you in a really good situation. Just a little nugget if you're watching. So if you're thinking about your business idea, it should probably fall into that criteria if you want it to be something that can take you far. But nonetheless, not to digress, I've come a long way, and I'm saying this because I want you to be able to give yourself credit too. If you look back to where you were 5 years ago, 7 years ago, even 2 or 3 years ago, and then you look at where you are right now, I hope that you would be able to give yourself the credit and just see the progress that you've made over this time. And I know it's rough, especially sometimes as men, especially, you know, black men, and probably men of other cultures and things also, but being a black man in the United States, a lot of times we're not given our props, bro. Like, we work hard, we try hard, especially those of us who are trying to do things just in a very, very disciplined and very, very linear way. Like, it's hard, and people don't give us credit. Nobody pats us on the back. A lot of times they say we're not doing enough, and they ask us for more. They act like we don't have bad days. They act like the weight of the world isn't on our shoulders. And though that isn't to negate our responsibility, because at the end of the day, we are men, it's just not easy. And so the fact that through all that we go through all that we are blessed to be able to hold on our shoulders, because, you know what I'm saying, we take it on the chin, it's important that we realize that where we started is not where we are. We've come so far, and we're continuing to go further and further, and we're doing a great job with each step that we take along the way. And I would hope that you would see that you're doing an exceptional job, and every single last thing that you have been through has been for a purpose, and you're standing in that purpose right now just by living, breathing, and continuing to move forward, regardless of what you may have seen as a setback. And that's important. That's really, really important. But to answer, I guess, the question, if it is a question, I don't think we really pose it as a question, but we're more so having a conversation. I'll say this, and this is just being bare bones honest, you know, in this journey that I've had of, you know, trying to become this man and trying to, you know, just become this person, the thing that has taken me the furthest, if you would say, I would honestly say is my relationship with God, my relationship with my creator, the one who created me and created you. At least that's what I believe. you might not be a believer if you're watching this. Majority of y'all that, you know what I'm saying, rock with me, I know y'all do believe, but you might not be, you know, specifically I'm talking to right now, you might not be a believer, but when I'm being real and I'm being raw, like, no matter which way I can spin it, I could not see how I could have possibly made it to where I am right now had it not been just for God, like, watching my back, even when I, like, turned my back a ridiculous amount of times. And the thing about it is, like, a lot of people, they talk about it and they make it seem like, oh, like, I've been walking with God and it's been great the whole time and I've never had, like, bro, I'm not even gonna cap to you. There's been times when I've literally been sitting like, bro, I don't want none of this mess. And there's been times when my actions showed that, like, yo, I don't want none of this mess. And it's crazy because I found that every single time, bro, it's like when I said, okay, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to get this money the way I want to get this money. When I said I want to go out here and I'm going to, like, date and mess with women the way, like, I want to mess with girls and all that type stuff. You know what I'm saying? When I would go out here and I would say, yo, like, I'm going to treat people the way I want to treat them. If this person say this, then I'm going to get them back. If this person wants smoke, then it's up. Like, just every season where I decided, okay, I'm going to go my own way. Every season I said, okay, I know how to handle this better. It's always blown up in my face. And I've always found myself back in the position where it's like, well, maybe I am not qualified to be able to kind of lead and try to guide myself. And then also seeing that every time I've been obedient to what God has said, and when I say what God has said, I mean like what he's laid clearly out and what I studied through the Bible or the contents of the Bible, right? It's always turned my life around in a ridiculous way. It's been like a night and day difference. Like, thinking about even like from a personal standpoint in terms of the person that I am and what I value. When I was valuing money, I was finding myself in a consistency. I was finding myself in a consistently depressed state. Like, I was consistently trying to get more and more and more and more. And I realized that there's never enough. If you're trying to get some bread out here, if that's your main goal, no number will ever be enough. You could have $20 million liquid. And if you are hell bent on being just the money man, it will never be enough. I remember when my goal was to just be validated by affection and by girls and different things, or women is a better word. And I found myself in, once again, this place where nothing is ever enough. You're only, the validation is only as good until you're invalidated. And then everything that has been built, it means nothing, right? I found myself in these positions where my pride was the thing that I was just so hell bent on protecting, my pride and my image. And it's kind of crazy because you realize the individuals that you are trying to, protect your pride and your image to or in front of, they do not care about you one way or another. Whether you are the biggest man or the smallest man, it really means nothing to them because they're going to move how they move because of the character that's inside them, regardless of who you are, regardless of what you look like. And I found myself going in these circles and these rat races. And even where I'm at now, if I'm not careful, if I'm not consistent, if I'm not studying, I'm not spending that time with God, I can find myself falling back into things. Now, the blessing is, and what I found is that the more time you spend with God, when you slip, it's like your foot slips less and less each time your foot slips. It's like you never go as far back. Well, some people might, but majority of times, at least for me, I never go anywhere near where I was. But any step backwards is not a good step. But I'm saying this and I'm sharing this with you because I think that for a person like me, for a man like me, who you want to be a better man, you want to be this great, just this great man, you know what I'm saying? I don't know a better way to say it. You want to be the image of what you see inside your head when you think of that's the type of man I need to be. I've tried it so many different ways, and I see a lot of guys, man, and we tried a lot of different ways, and we hit our head over and over and over and over again. We continue to try to fall into the money trap, the better job trap, the image trap. Let me get the car, let me get the clothes, let me be the toughest, let me have the right game to spit, let me just be this pseudo form of what a man should be. And a lot of times we find ourselves, and if you're still in that trap, you're going to find yourself, if you're not already finding yourself, feeling empty, feeling like there's supposed to be more, feeling like you're cheating yourself, feeling like there's no point in what you're doing. And the honest truth is that there really isn't. You know, all of us, we got to die one day, right? All of us, no matter who you are, it might be tomorrow. You might get shot. You might get ran over. You might just not wake up. You know what I'm saying? It happens. But we all got to die one day, right? And every single last thing that you will work for, as far as a physical thing or a carnal thing or an image thing, all that stuff, it will not matter. The only thing that's going to matter is those things that you built up in the spiritual, and then also those blessings, and then just those things that you poured into for those around you that are intangible. You could give somebody $20,000 a day, and they're gonna spend that $20,000, and when you're dead and gone, they're gonna forget about that $20,000, bro. I promise you. But if you teach somebody what true joy is as it comes through the Spirit of God, bro, they're going to take that with them for the rest of their life. They're going to pass it down to their kids, to their grandkids. That's a gift that keeps on giving. If you could show your young guys, and you could teach your son how to be just the most slick-tongued, lady killer in the whole entire universe. But if you actually show him what true peace means, and the peace that comes when you know that you're not living life by yourself, but you have a God that's walking in front of you, next to you, behind you, protecting you, guiding you, holding you when nobody else even cares to hear the slightest bit of what you're going through, he's going to take that with him. He's going to have peace when he's leading his wife one day, when he's leading his kids one day, when he's on the job and things aren't going well one day, when he's just trying to find out what it means to be the type of man that he needs to be, the same way you're doing right now. But he's not going to go about it with anxiety. He's going to go about it with peace, because you've connected him with the source of all peace. I'm saying all these things just so that you can clearly see, if nobody's ever told you, that the type of man that you want to be is completely possible to become. We're always in a journey. That's another thing. When it comes to this journey of becoming, it's not like one of those situations where you ever just hit the mark. We're continuously becoming day in and day out, with each experience, with each lesson, and with each just level added to our discipline. No matter how many steps that we take backward, we always have the opportunity, as long as there's breath in our body, to take steps forward. But the fact of the matter is, I've just found it's impossible to take any good, solid step forward without understanding that God has to be the one to lay the foundation for that step to be taken. Any other type of foundation, it's like glass steps. It's like potato chip steps. You step on it, that thing crunch. You know what I'm saying? But when you understand that there's a being, there's a power through which you were created, and that being, that power put purpose on your life, and that thing, that being, that power we call God, you know what I'm saying, that he sent his son down to earth, or sent the word, the power that through which we were all created down to earth, incarnated as his son, Jesus Christ, who came, died for our sins, and through that power was raised, and then through that power gave us the ability to also have every spiritual blessing just because we were loved. It just hits different, y'all. It just hits different, and it puts you in a different ball game than you could ever imagine. I don't really have any better words to say it. I don't really have any better words to explain it. But the main takeaway for today is that if you're on this journey of becoming a better man, if you're on this journey of becoming the man that you know you were created to be, it's not a situation where you can find that in any other being, any other place than God, yo. And on some very, very real stuff, you're probably gonna try. I've tried. A lot of us have tried. But my earnest prayer, what I hope, is just that your trying expires and you can start doing before your biological clock, not like a woman's, but your biological clock expires and you died while still trying, rather than being able to live forever by doing. But yeah, man, this is the Larger Than Logic podcast. My name is Avery Taylor, and I'm so glad you've allowed me to be a part of your journey.